looking at the Western Conference right now, honestly, the Clippers still have a great chance of moving up in the seedings pretty high. This is the reason why I think the Clippers need to take advantage of what's in front of them right now. Of course, they just won their last game against the Houston Rockets, but if the Clippers could find a way to, maybe just eke out some wins, barely, win ugly. You don't have to win pretty, win ugly. Win like, however you got to. It doesn't have to be pretty, but find a way to eke out some wins and, stay alive as you can, because the Western Conference is pretty shaken up. I mean, honestly, if you look at the board, how I have it posted here, it shows the Timberwolves at the very top. I mean, who would have thought the Timberwolves would be the best team in the Western Conference coming into this season? I know I didn't. I mean, Anthony Edwards did play in the Olympics and everything, but ever since he did that, it seemed like he's turned into the player that a lot of people thought he could or would be anyway, which is good for him. But, I mean, as far as the standings, I mean, you're looking at the Warriors, teams like that. You look at the Phoenix Suns. I mean, of course, there are, injuries and stuff like that, but these are the times you got to kind of take advantage of that, because all four of your guys on the Clippers, are playing right now. The Suns, they're missing Bradley Beal for a few weeks to a month, or at least about a month, I think. Devin Booker's in and out of the lineup. Stephen Curry's got a knee injury, being reevaluated this week, I believe. They lost 6 straight in Golden State. Now, of course, you got teams like the Kings and stuff like that are ascending and stuff like that. But the Clippers can compete with teams like that. They definitely can. They had a thriller with the Kings last year. But you got some teams ascending in the West and teams that are doing what they're supposed to. But the teams that I thought that would give the Clippers the most trouble in regards to matchups, is one of them was the Phoenix Suns. The other one was the Golden State Warriors. And you look at both teams right now, they're actually reeling right now. And like I said, that's an opportunity for the Clippers to make a move and, keep trying to build on what they had against Houston and find a way to win a couple games. When you think about the Clippers' schedule coming up, they got back-to-back games against the San Antonio Spurs. Hopefully they can get 2 wins in that one. That way the Clippers, based upon the standings, they're 4-7 right now. They will be 6-7 then, which, that's good. That's good because, the Pelicans right now are 6-7. And like I said, by that time, they might have a couple more wins. But like I said, 6-7, that can put you somewhere around that 8 or 9 range, somewhere in there, and, 7, 8 range, depending on how other teams lose. And that could put you right back in contention to be, playoff bound, within that playoff picture. And that's where you kind of want to be. And you kind of want to build off of that momentum, even though it's early in the season. But when you see other teams struggling early in the season and you got all your players there while other teams are struggling with injuries and things like that, that's where you have to take advantage the most as a team like the Clippers, who are trying to, win all they can and build as much chemistry as they can. But their schedule is, kind of favorable. Now, they do play the Pelicans, I think, in about a week from now, because like I said, they play the San Antonio Spurs back-to-back times. I think today is one day. Of course, I think they play the Spurs again Wednesday, and I think they play New Orleans. I think they played them Friday, I believe. But I mean, even still, that's a winnable game because New Orleans, they're playing all right. But I mean, they're beatable, definitely. They are a tough team. Don't get me wrong. They have 1 or 2 injuries themselves, with Trey Murphy III and things like that. I think unless he's came back. But I mean, that's a winnable game for the Clippers as well. I mean, it's going to be tough because Zion is not, he's not showing no mercy right now. And the team is playing all right. But I mean, like I said, they're beatable. So that's 3 wins possibly the Clippers can get that could put them right back, and from that 11th seed and put them all the way to like the 6th to the 7th, like 7th or 8th seed. You know what I'm saying? That's where you want to kind of stay, even though you're not in your full rhythm, chemistry, all that stuff. But like I said, there's games that the Clippers can win if they just keep playing the same way. Now that Russ is coming off the bench, James Harden's in the starting lineup. They'll get used to playing with James Harden, Kawhi, and PG. And you got to kind of run your offense a little bit more through Kawhi because, like I said, you have higher percentage shots. You're going to get better scoring. And, Kawhi is the type of player where he doesn't even have to take 30 shots to get 30 points. You know what I'm saying? He can take 17 shots and get 30 points. I mean, Kawhi is just that efficient 99% of the time. You know what I'm saying? So it's like when you have a player like that, when that's your best player, when your best player on your team is all about efficiency, you can win a lot of games that way if you run the offense through him and a little bit of James Harden simply because James Harden has the ball in his hand and let PG feed off of the energy of what they're doing and get his, get what he needs as well and play defense along with Kawhi and him. I mean, the Clippers they could do some things. They really can. And if Russ just pitches in off the bench the way I know he can and excel at that, that role, I think the Clippers would be good. So like I said, this is the time the Clippers got to take advantage because the West is not that strong right now. And even though, don't get me wrong, the Timberwolves at the top, nobody is going to believe that unless we're about 50 games in and then the Timberwolves are still around that second, third, or, 1 through 3, somewhere in there. If they're if they have the same standings around that time, that's when it'll be a little bit more believable, with the Timberwolves. Even though they're playing good, I don't want to take nothing away from them because they're playing really good right now. Ant looks like a MVP caliber type player to me. And I'm so happy for him and, how good he's progressing and stuff like that. But they're definitely a beatable team, to me. And, like I said, the Clippers, I like the team that they have in regards to the star power that they have. Like I said, I like the way, now that Russ is coming off the bench, now that all 4 of them are not in the starting lineup, I think their continuity will build a lot quicker. And I think it'll make them a little bit better. I don't know how much better, but I mean, I like their chances, now a lot better with one of their star players on the bench, having that extra firepower come off the bench with Norman Powell and some of the others and go in the game and, just sustain leads, up the leads, they'll have more balance now, I think, what I'm saying? If this works out the way I think it possibly could. Now we have to see what James Harden does, going forward. But I mean, the way the Kawhi, PG, Harden, it could work if they play exactly how they played against Houston. It can work for them. Of course they got to get better with it, more concise with their offense, but it can work, in their favor in regards to some of these teams that are inferior to them. Because like I said, the teams that I thought that would give the Clippers the most trouble, of course, you can always say the Lakers because, the Lakers are a rivalry team, but the Phoenix Suns and the Warriors I thought would give the Clippers the most trouble, probably simply because with the Warriors, they're a championship DNA team anyway. They're well coached. And the Phoenix Suns got, a lot of firepower as well. They may not have a big 4, but their big 3 is comparable to the Clippers' big 4 because Russ, coming off the bench, he's not going to score or put up points like he used to, back in the day, something like that. So, I mean, it's almost like a fair trade there. So, I mean, I thought those are 2 teams that give them the most trouble. Of course, the Nuggets would too, but the Nuggets are the champions. So, I mean, they would give a lot of people trouble. So, I mean, but those are the 2 teams I mainly thought that would give the Clippers a lot of trouble, and they're actually not playing that good right now. And the Lakers are kind of like, here and there themselves. I think they're 8-6 right now, but I mean, never know, that can change, also. But that's a rivalry between them two, of course. I mean, that can go either way anytime the Lakers play the Clippers. But like I said, the 2 teams I thought that would give them the most trouble is actually in trouble right now when you look at health-wise and all that. And right now, the Clippers are the most healthy team in the NBA right now. I mean, if that's believable to you. But with that being said, they can they can build on what they got. They can go on a run, win about 4 or 5 straight, something like that, win about 4 out of 5 somewhere in there games and put yourself back in contention and build that confidence, with it. And that's what the Clippers got to do because this is going to be a tough Western Conference stretch. This in-game tournament is really bringing the best out of a lot of teams. And, you're going to get teams best, you really are. And you got to take advantage of the teams that that you're better than. And even though the Clippers don't have that much talent, they still got to take advantage of teams that they had the better players on the floor. And most nights the Clippers are going to have the better players on the floor because they have 4-star players that you don't want to see if any one of them gets hot. I mean, and if all 4 of them is hot, or at least 3 out of 4 of them is hot, then you got a problem. You know what I'm saying? Especially with the 2 wings in Kawhi and PG who still play defense. So I mean that could be a problem for a lot of teams. So the Clippers need to take advantage of this, and the Clippers need to start picking up the pieces as quickly as they can because you don't want to fall too far behind the standings and just keep saying, oh, well, we'll figure it out because we got 4-star players. That doesn't mean anything. You got to put the product out on the floor, and it's got to actually work. And as I said before, if they run the offense mainly through Kawhi with a little bit of James Harden, since that's the way they're trying to do it now, and that's the only thing we can go by, then that's what you're going to have to do because I don't know if PG taking a lot of bad shots is going to help them win because him taking bad shots and making them is a good thing to a degree, but there's certain stretches in a game where, he might go cold, and taking those bad shots hurts them from building the momentum to finish out games sometime. And that's the reason why I said you got to really run your offense more so through Kawhi Leonard, not only because he's the best player, but he's the best decision maker on the team. Like I said, Kawhi is not going to do anything out of sorts. He's not going to shoot over 3 defenders just because he's hot. Kawhi is going to pass the ball if he's double teamed, pass to somebody who's wide open and take a more high efficient shot. Whereas Paul George doesn't think that way, which is the reason why Paul George has never won a championship. And this is why I say if the Clippers, if they want to win, they have to run it through Kawhi and let James Harden feed off of that, and kind of let James Harden figure out his way on his own while Kawhi is playing at an elite level, because what that does is it allows James Harden to get more time to figure things out, because they possibly have a chance to be winning more games if Kawhi is in the forefront, of course, and him and PG is doing their thing, and it'll let James Harden figure out his style, his way a little bit more within the offense, and how he can really push this team to another level, in which that's what they think James Harden can do. So I mean, if that's the case, go at it that way. And, with the West reeling the way it is and kind of looking a little shaky and, in my mind, and based upon how things are, the Clippers could really find themselves in good position, and it's all over, and, maybe make a run in the end. But hey, that's my take on everything. You leave any comments, and we'll talk about it.